Since my earliest memory, I imagined that I would be a chef one day. Ever since I was 7, I was playing around with the household items of my kitchen. Beans, rice, plantains. But Bella let me expand with the different things that I saw on TV. Soufflés, shepherd's pies, gizzards. When the other kids were saving up their lunch money so that they could buy the latest Jordans, I was saving up mine so that I could buy the best ingredients. Fish I had never even heard of that I had to get from a special market down by Penn's Landing. Sausages that I had watched Italian abuelitas make by hand in South Philly. I even saved up a month's worth of allowance when I was in the 7th grade so that I could make my abuela a special birthday dinner of filet mignon. High school isn't easy. I mean, from trying to turn in last-minute assignments to trying to find a date to a dance, sometimes the last thing that is on our mind is what we're going to be doing after high school, let alone if we want to go to college and what job we want to pursue. Well, in Elizabeth Avocito's story with the Fire on High, she tells the story of a high school senior who seemingly has it all figured out. She just needs a little bit of help and guidance and judgment from some of her own mentors. She learns that sometimes what she wants isn't always what she needs, not only in her personal life, but in the culinary world. So, when we were applying to high schools my 8th grade year, my counselor asked me what I liked to do, and I told her that I wanted to be a chef. I thought that she would mention the most culinary arts program, sophisticated program in the city. It had classes in gastronomics and restaurant management. I had already done researching in the library, and I knew that it would be the best opportunity for me, and she did recommend that as a place, as somewhere that I would have been able to go to had my grades been better. She didn't think that I would have been able to test into it, so she recommended that I'd enter the lottery for Scumberg Charter instead. Although their culinary arts program wasn't really active or relevant at the time, she said that it was my best bet into getting into a competitive academic program. Well, I prayed about that lottery for weeks and weeks, and finally, after hundreds of kids who had applied in the city, I was one of the 3 who got in. What they don't tell you about culinary arts class is that it is a lot of work. More work than when you cook in your own kitchen. It's all about rules and critique and prestige, and don't even get me started on the homework. Although I dreaded the quizzes, I loved the bits and pieces when we learned about owning not only our own kitchens, but a restaurant. I would hate to make somebody sick with my own food, and that's what I try to remind myself whenever I'm cooking and studying for quizzes. But I just want to get to the part that I'm good at, chefing it up. And today, for the first time, our chef finally gives us a real recipe with real ingredients. First, we stir cocoa and cornstarch together. We pour the milk in and let everything chill. After we finish cooking, he guides us on how to put everything away. As I'm putting my last few pieces away, a bright red bottle in the top of the pantry catches my eye. Cayenne pepper. I grab some of it and sprinkle it right on top of the pudding, being sure not to put too much on. And when Chef calls to test our dishes, I'm the first one to go and set my bowl right in front of him. He takes a tiny spoonful, and the minute his mouth closes around the spoon, so does his eyes. I wonder if my cooking woo-woo works on him. What is that? Well, I'm assuming he was referring to whatever was on top of the pudding and not whatever memory may have been loosened by my pudding. Oh, Chef, I'm sorry. I actually just used a little bit of cayenne pepper. Oh my gosh, I did not even think about what would happen if I were to use something that hadn't been on the original recipe list. You trying to show off, Amani? Chef, no, I wasn't trying to show off. The ancient Aztecs, too, would pair chocolate and chipotle with cayenne, although it's not so common now. Why did you add it? I actually don't know. I just figured that the flavors would work well together. Amani, this isn't bad. Amani, this is good, actually. Creativity is very important, and this is delicious, but I want you to know that if a chef gives you an original recipe to follow, it is disrespectful to try and go out of place from that. Chefs could kick you out of their kitchen in an instant, have you do this again. Do you understand? Yes, chef, I'm so sorry. I wasn't even. Class, everybody come get a spoonful of Amani's chocolate pudding. Yeah, you boys definitely laughed at that joke because they had to take it in a dirty way. But I didn't even drop my head low. I blushed a little bit, but it was from pride and a little bit of embarrassment. Okay, those few seconds of embarrassment were enough to make me skip class the next day and the day after that. Tried 2 weeks. So 2 weeks later passed, and I decided to go to his class. And as soon as the bell rang, I was out of there with so much quickness. And as when I walked into the door, it was as if he was surprised he would ever see my face again. Amani, long time no see. Thought you would have dropped this class by now. Chef, I just wanted you to know that. What did I want him to know? I spent all this time prepping to come up here, and now I wanted you to know that I promised to work harder after this. I just didn't understand why you had given me a recipe to follow, and I made it better, and suddenly I was in the wrong for it. But I wanted you to know that I promised to be a better chef, and I can learn so much more. I went to a restaurant this past weekend, and I saw a chef. She says that she knows you, and seeing her in her uniform, it made me realize that I can be like her one day. I can own my own restaurant and inspire people. After a pause that felt like a lifetime, Chef stood up. He told me that to make up for my absences, he wanted me to lead the financial committee for the trip abroad to Spain, and it would be the perfect opportunity for me to make up for it. I've seen chefs on TV time and time again say that they had to pay their dues, and I never exactly knew what it meant, but now I think I get it. It's about doing the grunt work behind the scenes, washing the dishes, folding the napkins, taking stock before you even touch the recipe book. It's about being a creative mind behind raising a whole bunch of money so that you can go on a trip abroad. I hold my hand out. I've got what it takes.